Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. So I'm showing you guys how I got these cute acrylic toes, and these do match the nails I recently did on my channel as well with the drips and stuff, which you can probably go check out on my channel. So first we're just going through and removing the polish that is already on her toes. So I'm using acetone on a napkin and just wiping all of that off. So for acrylic toes, you're basically just doing the same thing as you're doing for, regular fingernails. So here I'm just going through and pushing back all of the cuticles with my pusher. Then I'm going in with my regular nail file and I'm going to buff the natural shine or the oils off of the nail bed. And I did just go through and shape up the nail because her toes are already super long. Basically what I did is I just shaped the shape that I want, like that square shape. The first video I did of acrylic toes, I did go through and cut her nails. Her nails were a little bit longer. These are two different clients, but the other client, her nails were a little bit longer, and I did go ahead and cut them and add tips just to show y'all how to do it with tips, and just the fact that I wanted to get the experience of doing it with tips. And those kind of ended up a little bit too long because it was really my first time doing it on someone else with tips. So a lot of people were saying it was long. I understand that, okay, but yeah, I just wanted to get the getting it with tips or whatever. But here I'm just going through, and her toenails are actually longer than the other client. So we're just going to do an acrylic overlay. We're not going to do any tips. We just want to get that shape as much as we can. And when you're doing the acrylic overlay, you're going to create the shape even more, if that makes sense. So with the pinky, once I start filing the pinky, you'll see it'll have like a little missing on the one side, but as long as you have like one side straight and square, then you can build the acrylic off and create the whole square, if that makes sense. Then I'm just going to use the other side of my cuticle stick and go under the toes just to get any gunk or anything that was under there. I'm not doing a full pedicure with the whole soap and cleaning stuff because I really don't like toes, y'all. I'm just doing this just to practice. You know, it's cute. I might offer the service in the future, but I just can't get over touching people's toes right now, you know. So I'm only doing close friends or whatever. But yeah, you just want to get all the gunk under there. Then I'm going to go in with my cuticle drill bit, and this is to remove all of the cuticle and the dry skin around there. So it's okay to go on the skin with this. It's not going to hurt. And you just want to try to pull back the skin around. You see what my fingers are doing, as much as you can, so that you can really get in there. And in the picture, like at the ending, I do have, you can kind of see like in the big toe, I do kind of have still that skin in there. It kind of looks like it's the acrylic or whatever, but it's the dead cuticle skin that's in there. So you might want to go back through. I didn't do it obviously, but you might want to go back through and scrape like the side of the cuticle pusher that I just used. Go in and scrape all the dead skin in between there. You know, I didn't do that, so it ended up looking messy at the end. So then you want to wipe off all of the particles or whatever, and once we're done with that, is ready for acrylic. So I'm using Electrica from Acrylics for the powder, and I'm going in with my dehydrator from Valentino, and then I will go in with my primer from Valentino as well, and then we'll be ready to set the acrylic. So you really want to go in with smaller beads because this is just the toenail, you know, it's going to be smaller, and I'm pushing it up or whatever. And then when you bring it down is when you're going to create the shape. And for me, I think what works for me is that I have a little bit more dry beads on this drier side, so that when you're pulling it off of the tip, it can actually stand up on its own, if that makes sense, instead of just drooping off of the nail. So, and I'm also just going underneath because even if it's dry, you know, it's acrylic, it's still going to be wet, so it's still going to drip off. So I'm just trying to push that back up, and then yes, that's what you're going to go and do on every toe and just create that shape. And the cuticle area is just going to be the same as the fingernail. The only thing with toes is you're not really looking to build an apex. You know, you don't have, it's just too short to build an apex like it's toes. You know, you don't need the apex. For this foot, I did zoom in so that you guys can fully see what I'm doing with the toe. But for the other foot, I will zoom out a little bit so that you guys can see me actually taking the beads and dipping my brush and everything, as well as placing it on the toe. Once all the acrylic is finished, I'm just going in with that same file to shape up the nails. And you want to be super gentle because, you know, with these files you can cut into the skin around the cuticle area, so you just want to be super gentle, soft, or whatever. But yeah, you're basically just going in and shaping up the sides, whatever. And I did use the e-file, which you'll see me use it. I use it on like each toe at a time, if that makes sense. So you'll see me kind of go underneath the nail because, like I mentioned before, the acrylic will droop down when you're trying to bring it off of the toenail. So I just kind of went under, like right here, to clean up all of the thickness that was created when I was doing that. But other than that, yeah, you just want to file on top of the nail, not as much. You don't really want to focus on the top of the nail because, like I mentioned, you don't need an apex for the toes. So I didn't focus too much on that, just, you know, what needed to be done, and then more on the shape if you can. And around the cuticle, just make sure that's good. And I actually went in with my nippers here, like you can see, and I do that often just to, like I mentioned, just to try to get a little bit more of that thickness that clumped up underneath there off. Then I went ahead and sprayed the toes with rubbing alcohol and wiped them down just to get all of those extra dust particles off. And this is just an alternative to washing the hands because obviously you can't wash your feet. And like I mentioned, she had matching toes with her nails that I recently did on my page, which you can go take a look at. And they were drips on them. So I'm just going through with my acrylic paint that I got from Michael's and my nail art brushes and creating these drips on both of the big toes. And when you're working with acrylic paint for designs, you want to use water to clean your brush instead of acetone. So once that's done and dried, I'm going in with my Shine E top coat from Nail Couture and just top coating all of the toes, and then I will cure them for 60 seconds. And this was the ending look. I forgot to put cuticle oil on because she had to go somewhere real quick. So yes, these came out so cute. I love the shape, the length, everything. And girl, we changing the game with these designs on these toes, okay? These are real cute. I love acrylic toes right now. But anyways, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. And I'll see y'all in my next video.